and we're going to have a chat with Anouj Mehta from ADB, and the ASEAN Catalytic Green Finance Facility will be the topic. We'll have a very strict 5-minute break because we're running a little bit behind time, and in doing so I also want to give a shout out to our friends at Australian Aid as well. All right, are we ready for Anouj?
Hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we certainly can. All systems are go.
Ah, okay, good. Okay, thanks. Okay, yes, it's very scary to be talking into the void without hearing back confirmation of someone being there. So it's good to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak over here. My name is Anouj Mehta. I work with the Asian Development Bank out of the Philippines. So I'm speaking to you from Manila right now. And I'm going to give you a very quick overview of the ASEAN Catalytic Green Finance Facility. And it's really to try and give evidence or an example of a de-risking vehicle which can be used to convert or to transition projects from non-bankability to bankability, and which is an issue which is especially plaguing this sector: water, sanitation, solid waste management. And I also think that this is very well placed for supporting investments into the sector post-COVID. So it's a very good platform for a green recovery in Asia generally, but of course we are specifically focused on the ASEAN. If we can go to the next slide, please. Now, very quickly over here, where we are today in terms of the ASEAN, creates 4 fundamental issues which relate to the sector even more clearly now, and were always in play before. And those are those 4 things on the right-hand side, which is job creation, in this case, within this particular sector, most importantly, protecting our scarce natural resources. And we've already seen a huge amount of issue with, urban cities in urban areas in Asia, ASEAN, where there are shortages of water supply, a lot of pollution from industrial sources and municipal sources into the clean water supplies. So how do we protect that? Climate change, that's the ethos of the green facility. And especially, we basically looked at it in terms of mitigating and adapting climate change impacts in the region specifically. But of course, we are already seeing evidence of that with cities looking to relocate with rising seawater levels, etc. But it's as applicable now to prevent future pandemics, because there is a growing linkage between protection of the environment, biodiversity, and the mix of diseases from forests, etc., coming into human play. And then last, which is critical, is supplementing government funds. With the shortage of public sector money, you need to catalyze private sector money, and there's a huge financing gap in the region, lots of numbers all over the place. And that's really what you're trying to do, which is leveraging private capital in by using public sector funds better. That's, for me, the essence of a blending or a leveraging facility, not to be confused with other definitions of blended finance, which are also being developed separately. So I speak more generically about leveraging finance. Next slide, please. The sector, specifically, is even more risky when you're looking at it from a private sector or private capital perspective. Especially in our part of the world, where there are issues with institutions and their ratings and ability to do blue bonds or to raise money from commercial banks. That remains an issue. Governance structures, tariffs, the green box over there or the circle over there, which is limited by affordability considerations, so you can't see spikes in tariffs given the underlying income levels. And then, of course, the constrained flow of private capital, which all sort of intermingles together, therefore depleting assets with poor O&M leads to further declines in service offerings. And therefore, you need this de-risking or blending approach, which can mix public and private with the party best suited to take a particular risk doing it. Next slide, please. And that's the reason why the ACGF was set up. The ACGF is one of the only green finance vehicles in, I think, the world, which is owned by all the countries of a particular region together. So it's owned by all the ASEAN countries and the Asian Development Bank together. It's a window under the ASEAN Infra Fund, which is managed by ADB. The green window specifically was launched last year in April 2019 in a finance ministers meeting in Thailand of the ASEAN. And it's administered and managed by a small team in the ADB. Interesting to note that when we started developing this as a de-risking accelerator for green finance, we weren't sure of the interest from other partners. And when we eventually finished with signing of MOUs, we had almost 1.4 billion in financing commitments from around 11 partners. And you'll see the co-financing partners range from obviously the ADB up to Government of Korea, and that's expanding even as we speak. There are also knowledge partners which bring in ideas, solutions, which we can then pitch to governments and projects in the region, which is also vital. Next slide, please. Now, what does the ACGF support? And can you just press that once more, because I think it's missing a circle. Once more, please. 1, 2, and 3. That's it. So, yes, thanks. So, the support that the ECGF offers, and this is important, is it's not just funding and it's not just concessional funding. It's a mixture of 3 things, which is project preparation, de-risking, and knowledge. Now, this is important because the underlying problem, especially for the sector we are talking about today, is preparing bankable projects. So it's not so much even about technical, which a lot of countries do very well. It's about financial modeling. What are the innovative finance structures which can make a project more bankable, more attractive to the private sector? So there is a grant window under the ACGF which helps countries prepare these for that financial modeling aspect, innovative finance modeling. Then, of course, there's the de-risking fund, which is a 2-step loan, which is designed to be concessional in the initial 7-year period of a loan, and then it jumps up after that, which is designed
1 minute left to wrap up.
catalyze in private capital. Thanks. And then the last is capacity building and knowledge support, which is working with countries to really develop tools, policies, project models, etc. And you'll see the red line over there, which is, the aim is to leverage and catalyze, at least 1 to 3 from the private sector to public sector. Next slide, please. I think this is one slide more. Now, this is the last slide that I just mentioned, that, the amount of private finance which has been mobilized to the sector, water and sanitation, is pretty small compared to what comes into things like renewable energy, and even to an extent, large metro rail, urban transport projects. And therefore, a lot more needs to be done in the form of these de-risking vehicles, which is either reducing capital costs upfront or guarantees or revenue support. And we are slowly evolving to try and scale up ACGF to try and reach into more areas of financial support or de-risking areas, which you'll see as we go forward. There's already a pretty decent pipeline, and hopefully some of these projects will become visible in the next few months. Thank you very much. Back to the moderator.